Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro, Texas. It is September 17th, 2024, 5:31 p.m. We call this meeting to order.
Good afternoon. Item number 2, establishment of quorum. Andrew Arroyos,
Here.
Enrique Cisneros,
Here.
David Estrada,
Here.
Julie Dominguez, absent. Osvaldo Reza, absent. Yolanda Rodriguez.
Here.
We have a quorum with 4 commissioners present. Item number 3, open forum. Alfredo, do we have anyone that would like to speak?
Not at the moment.
Thank you. Item number 4, consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Do I have
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyo, second by David Estrada, to approve. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain?
I abstain.
Motion carried. Item number 5, public hearing for a conditional use permit to allow for a mechanic shop in a C2 general commercial zoning district on track 1-A-9, Light Clark Survey 293, abset 6257, located at 1121 Robin Road, Socorro, Texas. Mr. Arroyos?
Good afternoon. We will open public hearing at 5:32. Do you have anybody?
We do not have no speakers at the moment.
If nobody, we will close public hearing at 5:32.
Thank you. Item number 6, consider and take action on the proposed conditional use permit to allow for a mechanic shop in a C2 general commercial zoning district on track 1-A-9, Light Clark Survey 293, abset 6257, located at 1121 Robin Road, Socorro, Texas. Mr. Botello?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Jose Botello, planner with the City of Socorro. Item number 6 on the agenda is the conditional use permit request for 1121 Robin Road. So some general information on this request. The property owner is Recios Group LLC. The representative on the application was listed as Norma Araceli Martinez. The lot size is 4.4668 acres. The current zoning for the property is C2, which is general commercial. The current land use is also commercial. The future land use map had this property listed as regional commercial, RG. And the summary of the request is for approval of a conditional use permit to allow for a mechanic shop in a C2 general commercial zoning district. And staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit to allow for a mechanic shop in a C2 general commercial zoning district. And so in the next slide, you'll see on the location map, the property is situated on Robin Road. Followed by the zoning map, the red signifies the C2 general commercial zoning district for the property. And followed by some of the pictures taken from Robin Road of this property. And this is the aerial image for the property requesting the CUP. And then the future land use map with the red overlay denoting the regional commercial zone. And then followed by the public notice map showing the properties that were notified for this conditional use permit request. We did receive an anonymous call requesting or demanding for the applicant to provide a ponding area for the conditional use permit request. Aside from that, no other correspondence was received. And these were the public notice letters that were sent to the constituents, both in English and Spanish. And then followed by the site plan that was submitted, showing where the mechanic shop would go, the parking for the vehicles on the left, the entrance, and the small blue rectangle, hard to see, but it would be the the ponding area for this request. And so the summary of the request, once again, is for a conditional use permit to allow for a mechanic shop in a C2 general commercial zoning district. And at this time, staff can answer any questions. We also have Mr. Recio present to answer any questions as well. Mr. Reza, I'm sorry.
I've got some questions for Theo. Was this property already operating as a mechanic shop?
No, so we received, I believe, some plans or
For a new building?
yeah, and so that's where the request came to apply for the conditional use permit, as it's not allowed, without the approval for that
Okay.
CUP.
My next question is, so when there's a new construction, like a new building, we do need to, the property owner does have to provide on-site ponding, but because this is a conditional use, it's something we would have to add extra, right?
So not necessarily. The ponding requirements is usually part of the planning process. So in this case, they're not really adding any square footage, that they're using an existing structure to conduct or to convert the mechanic shop. I don't know if that answered your question, but for new construction, yeah, I mean, if the property has not been platted, the requirement does outline the need for a ponding area.
Okay, so then the metal building, it's already existing on the property?
Correct.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
David? Yeah, so the ponding area that's on here, how do you determine if that's adequate?
So there's no way to determine it. It's part of the requirements that are outlined on the requirements when submitting an application for a conditional use permit. So the application, the City of Socorro zoning application lists the items that should be included on the site plan. And so that's, part of the requirements to have a ponding area. But as far as, enforcing it, I mean, that's within the subdivision chapter. So it's shown as part of the requirements for a conditional use permit, the site plan that's required with the application. But that's where, it fulfilled the requirement to show it, to have it. But in this case, it would be at the applicant's discretion to add the ponding area, as our current subdivision chapter requires platting when you're adding square footage to a structure, a new structure, right? But in this case, they're using an existing building, so they're not really increasing any square footage, therefore not requiring the property to be platted. I don't know if
It
that
still
makes...
seems like the ponding area is a engineered product. We sure wouldn't require some engineering documents to show that this is adequate to, the purpose for the ponding is to capture all of the stormwater, making sure water doesn't run off to other properties, and that would require some engineering.
Correct.
So we might need to double check on that to see what recheck the ordinance to see what the requirements are. Because that sounds like something that is there for a reason, would require professional details that would need to be reviewed.
It should be part of the, or shown on the site plan for the construction documents.
But they aren't paving anything, all they're doing is cleaning up the property for the mechanic shop.
Correct.
So if we were to vote yes or whatnot, we could add a condition saying that they're given the conditional with them improving their ponding area if it's not up to standard, or? Well,
The way that I'm interpreting it is, there's no new building, so the property owner is going above and beyond what the city's requiring, because if it was a new building, then we would need an engineered on-site ponding report with the stamp on it.
Well, a new building would then trigger them to have to
Yeah.
plat the property, and right now it's not platted. But they're not doing anything that would trigger the platting.
Which would then, how would that affect the on-site ponding? Then we would need an engineered
I mean,
on-site
in either
ponding.
case, we would require the on-site ponding.
Yeah, so because it's an existing,
I'm sorry, you're saying, it's not required currently.
That's-
They are going above and beyond by putting it on there.
that's what that was my next point, that they're going above and beyond because they're not adding any new buildings. I've priced out the engineering and ponding, it's pretty expensive. Because there's not any new structure and the property owner is going above and beyond what we're requesting, I feel comfortable. Now, here's my next question is, in the event that the on-site ponding is not enough, for whatever reason, and it's brought to the city's attention or the inspection department, then they could lose their conditional use permit until they fix that.
Mhm.
So we do have some recourse there. So I think it's that middle ground, because the property owners are going above and beyond. So I feel comfortable in approving with staff recommendations, as it's written. Because if it's gonna be an engineered product, it's gonna be a additional expense to the property owners.
So I have a question. Educate me a little bit about the difference between your current zoning on your general commercial, the C2, going to your future land use, which is your regional commercial. What is the difference there?
We can jump to the page, you have your land use comp plan handy, because, right, we just gave you the comp plan. And I'm gonna try to jump to the page where it describes general commercial,
Okay.
but it's pretty much mimics what we have currently as the,
Yeah, I just wanted to know,
Yeah.
just for education purposes, is what is the difference between going from your C2, going to your regional commercial? And you're asking us to approve a conditional use of permit. What is the difference? Just to educate myself, that's all.
so that's the future land use is the new designation that we've given to C2.
Okay,
And maybe it's a little more broader to capture a little more of the general commercial uses and heavier uses, but since ours is kind of limited. But so far, that's only a change in the land use. In the future land use, we haven't updated the zoning. That'll come through this UDC project to flesh out
Okay.
the new code, to give more, a better and easier land use, zoning district table to show what types of uses
okay,
fit.
so it's,
But I can try to find quickly the page that, in the comprehensive plan that has the full description of,
so it's basically the same thing, but with
It's
different terminology. and
different
with
terminology,
a
but we are
different
trying to broaden
expansion.
it and
Okay.
expand it to a little
Okay.
more uses.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if, I don't, maybe somebody asked, I don't remember, but what's the current use right now? What are they using it, the property?
Can you come up to the microphone, please, and state your name, please?
Hello, my name is Nijo Recio, and I'm representing partial of 1121 Robin Road. And we're currently using it for the wood pallets. That's Recio's group, that's the business we have right now. We wanted to separate the warehouse, that black warehouse, to make it a mechanic shop. but that was just the area. It's already been constructed since we bought the land. And, well, yeah, basically we use it for wood pallets. For wood.
Okay, so from wood pallets to a mechanic shop, basically. You're gonna be doing both on the property?
Yeah, well, the land is 10 acres total. It's divided into 2 pieces. It's 4.6 acres, and that area we wanted to use for, well, basically a small portion for a mechanic shop.
The 4.6 acres for a mechanic shop?
No, the whole building, it's separated in 2 pieces. So it's 4.6, and the other part, it's total of 10 acres. And we're using the small portion of the parking lot, ponding area, and that black warehouse for the mechanic shop, and the rest of it, we're gonna be using for wood, trailers, and all of this stuff. We already have the permit
You already have a permit for the
for the
wood
wood.
and the
Yeah,
pallets?
it's general commercial. We wanted the mechanic shop,
Mechanic shop.
that's where we applied for this, but we have nothing yet.
Okay. Okay, and then how did you determine the location of the ponding area right there? Why right there?
Oh, we determined the water, since it's on decline. And, over here next to the black warehouse, there's a slight elevation coming from the black warehouse coming from right to left. And we decided to go in there because the elevation's going towards it.
So
Okay.
right now, when it rains, that's where it goes to.
Yeah,
other words.
right. Yeah, that's exactly, what we thought. Where it rains, it goes right there.
Have you talked to somebody who can do a grading plan for you, or like a civil engineer, anybody
Well, when we
regarding?
got the property, it was already, it was as an agriculture, and then we made it, general commercial. So we didn't think it was gonna be a big change of water-related ponding area. Although since the mechanic shop's right there, I included a ponding area just in case for the mechanic shop, just in case. But as the property it already has efficiently the ponding area from general commercial, coming from agricultural to general commercial.
Okay. Have you spoken to an engineer regarding grading or any?
No, sir.
No, okay. Okay.
Although, over here, coming into the right, there's a ponding area from City of Socorro. Over here on the right, I don't know if you can slightly see it, but that's the ponding area from the whole building, from the whole 10 acres. That's where all the water goes, and that's why it's no big deal relating the 10 acres, because all the water already flows there. I included a ponding area just in case, because it was part of the requirements for upgrading the land, but yeah.
Okay. Okay, I have another question, just to be clear, you said this hasn't been replatted, this is a tract right now, so it hasn't been subdivided, hasn't been replatted into a subdivision or anything like that?
It has not been filed
It
for
has not been
a
filed.
plat.
Okay. Well, okay, so I'm a little, on the ponding issue, on the issue of ponding, it kind of strikes a little bit of because if, let's say, for example, somebody comes in and they say, okay, I want to build a duplex or more, right? On an infill lot, the areas that has already been replatted, it's a subdivision. If you want to build a duplex, I believe you're required to provide a grading plan showing a ponding area, correct? Is that correct?
So that depends on the subdivision that you're requesting this. Some of the older subdivisions don't have dedicated ponding areas. The newer ones they're abiding by the requirements outlined in Chapter 38. So it kind of depends. where exactly the property is located.
In the subdivision, in what subdivision? If it's an older subdivision, usually there's no ponding within that subdivision, so if there's an infill lot, a vacant lot in those subdivisions, if somebody comes wanting to build something on there, they're asked to build a pond, they're asked to have a ponding area on that lot. Right, correct?
Mhm.
But depends on the subdivision, is what I'm hearing. Okay, so,
And I want to correct, I'm not sure if this was brought up, but it is legal non-conforming, and that was verified in June 27 of 2016. So when did you purchase the property?
I believe in 2010.
So if,
It already came with the black warehouse when we purchased the property. And it was architecturally, and then they designed and the ponding area and everything.
Well, I have a question, Mr. Botello. So, I guess, I think we all want ponding. My question is, because we're not adding anything new, does it have to be an engineered ponding, on-site ponding report or plan? Or can it just be the one that they're coming up with because we're not adding any new buildings?
I mean, ideally, it would be, you know, best to have the engineer's seal on the grading plan. But my understanding is that with construction documents that will be submitted for the mechanic shop, right, you're changing whatever use is to a mechanic shop, and so it's going to have to change some of the electrical, plumbing maybe, and so in that set of construction documents, we should see on the site plan, you know, where a ponding area requirement would or the ponding area would be, but as it's stated in chapter 38.1 applicability of the City of Socorro's ordinance, the exceptions to plating are when you are not increasing the square footage of a structure, and when you're building improvements such as driveways, and the second exception is when you're demolishing a structure. So in this case, they're not really adding square footage. They're applying for the conditional use permit for the mechanic shop. So it falls under that exception that they're not required to plat. Now, if they want to divide the property to have separate, you know, or to so right now, like you mentioned, it's 2 lots. So if they want to combine both properties to make it 1, to make it 10 acres, then right then at that point, the ponding area requirements, soils analysis, everything that's required for platting has to be submitted.
okay.
So what I'm interpreting is we can vote to approve along with staff recommendations. They'll go above and beyond and provide a ponding area, but they won't incur the engineering cost for it. Because the city will take the ponding, the on-site ponding plan that they submit.
Can you see that one more time? I'm sorry. Trying to.
So, if we make a motion and get a second and it gets approved, and we make a motion to approve with staff recommendation, which means that we would take the ponding, on-site ponding that the property owner is recommending. They wouldn't necessarily be financially burdened to make that an engineered product. The city would accept the on-site ponding plan that they would come up with, because there is no new buildings, new driveways, and everything that you mentioned. Is that correct?
It's a very good question.
I'm gonna say yes, but I don't know. I'm just an insurance agent, but the point is I think that we can make a motion to approve with staff recommendation, and the way that, and again, it's just my interpretation of it, one is we all want on-site ponding, especially in that area, because that's where the water would come down from. So on-site ponding is very important. Secondly, I think that the property owner is going above and beyond and providing something that because there is no new structure, and just my interpretation of what I've read in the code, they're not required to. And it gives the city the tools needed that in the event that if the on-site ponding fails, they would lose their conditional use permit until that was fixed. Yeah, it's just, that would be that's where I'm at right now.
I think, and you said exactly what I was thinking. That area right there is prone. There's a lot of runoff down into the valley. And so I think this is an opportunity to ask this homeowner or this owner of the property to start, turn in a grading plan, get the engineering done, and start, this is opportunity for us to have Socorro, steer in the right direction. And down the line, when someone else in this area comes up wanting to do something, it's the same thing. And I'll go back to what I was saying a while ago. Down in the valley, if there's just an infill lot in an older subdivision, you're asked to do on-site ponding. And so when I compare something like that to what we're looking at today, I think this should require the whole 9 yards, the whole gamut of the engineering that's required. I know that the applicant is saying, okay, well, we're proposing, but it's not based on any engineering. There's no calculations, there's nothing. And so applicants for smaller lots are asked to do on-site ponding. And on something like this, in that area, I think it should be required. I understand why it's not being required in this situation, right? But I think this is a good opportunity for us to say, no, we need to start, slowly but surely directing everything in the right direction.
So we're on the same page. I just think that, I wish everybody was here because I think we're gonna need more votes. I think that if, we're all in the same, we're all in the same boat. It's just a difference of, is there new buildings? No. Do we need an engineered report? That's where we're different. So what I would suggest is, I'll make a motion. If there's a second, we'll go to a vote. If there's not enough support for it, then we'll go on the next one. And then, I think that it's always good to give the business owner or the landowner a resolution today. But that's kind of where I think we're there. Our only difference is on the engineering staff. But that's where I'm at. Yes, sir.
I want to say that we've been having the building and everything for 14 years, and we haven't had once a problem with the ponding area. And if we had it for 14 years, we're not building anything new. We're just coming up with the mechanic shop. We want to fix things, but it's not really changing none of the structures. If we haven't had any problems for 14 years, why should we have problems now? I want to include the ponding area just in case you guys could see, just in case, but we haven't had any problems for the past 14 years, nor the neighbors, nor no one has. So the ponding area in this building, it's efficient, but why should we get an engineer or someone, or waste some of the money to build something that we already want?
So I'll take that question. So when there's an opportunity to when something like this comes to the board as a voluntary civil, we're not elected officials. A lot of us are business owners. We're committed to the community. Whenever there's an opportunity to try to make our community better, I think you can see that we all have that intent. Do we hesitate to give you and the group that extra cost? We hesitate to do that. But when we're presented with an opportunity to make it better, we have to make the most of it. It's an imperfect world, and we can never hang our hat on. It's never happened before. you know, we have to control the controllables and make decisions based on what could be, or how do we act on the things we can act on? So, yeah, I don't think it makes it hurt any less, but that's why we do it.
No, yeah, I respect you looking for all the people in Socorro.
All right, so nobody has any questions, I'll make a motion, we'll see where we land. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion with staff recommendation, with the voluntary onsite ponding, without the, and I don't know if I can make this distinction without the engineering stamp on it.
Yeah, that's fine, or you can, I mean, I think the way you stated it was fine, you said motion to approve based on staff recommendation. I think you could say, you know, as it was presented to Planning Zoning Commission, which is without an engineering stamp. But if you want to note, I mean, there's no.
Correct. So let me
Or to
make,
accept the proposed plan, that was provided.
okay. So I'd like to make I'd like to make a motion to approve with staff recommendation accepting the proposed,
The proposed
Site plan.
site plan.
There you go.
Do I
I
have a
second.
second? Thank you. I have a motion made by Enrique Cisneros to approve with staff recommendation accepting the proposed site plan, and second by Yolanda Rodriguez. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
Any abstain? Motion carried. Item number 7, public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro Master Plan and rezoning of Robert E. Nix Survey 305 located at Gateway West Boulevard from unclassified to ICMUD, Industrial Commercial Mixed-Use Developments, with a variance request for the maximum allowable building height of 50 feet and a reduction in parking space of 1 space per 400 square feet of net leasable office space and 1 space per 5,000 square feet of net leasable warehouse area to allow for a logistic warehouse distribution facility. Mr. Arroyos?
Good afternoon, we will open public hearing at 6:03.
We have no speakers.
Okay. No speakers, so we will close at 6:03.
Item number 8, consider and take action on the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Robert E. Nix Survey 305 located at Gateway West Boulevard from unclassified to ICMUD, Industrial Commercial Mixed-Use Developments, with a variance request for a maximum allowable building height of 50 feet and a reduction in parking spaces of 1 space per 400 square feet of net leasable office space and 1 space per 5,000 square feet of net leasable warehouse area to allow for a logistic warehouse distribution facility. Mr. Botello?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Item number 8 on the agenda is the rezoning request for the 73-acre Gateway Industrial Development. So some general information on this request. Property owners are Darrington Land LLC. The representative is Brad Maples from TC Austin Acquisitions LLC. The size of the property is 73.077 acres. The property is currently zoned unclassified. The current land use is vacant. The future land use map has this property listed as industrial commercial mixed use. And so the summary of the request is for approval of the rezoning request from unclassified to ICMUD with a variance request to allow for warehousing and distribution facilities. And staff recommends approval of the rezoning request and variance request for a 50-foot maximum allowable height and reduced parking space requirements of 1 space per 400 square feet of net leasable office space and 1 space per 5,000 square feet of net leasable warehouse area. And so you see in the location map, this property is on Gateway West Boulevard, within close vicinity to I-10 and FM 1110. And then the next slide of the zoning map, you'll see the gray overlay on the property, so that denotes the unclassified zoning classification for this property. and then followed by a few pictures taken from Gateway West Boulevard. You can see the property is vacant. And then followed by the aerial image. It's within close range to Darrington. And then the purple, light purple overlay for the future land use map has this area designated as industrial, commercial, mixed use. And then for the public notice map, these are the properties that were notified for this rezoning request. There was no correspondence received for the rezoning request. And then followed by the notifications that were sent to our constituents, letters both in English and Spanish. And then you'll see the development plan with the intent for this development. You can see the ponding area is adjacent to Gateway West Boulevard. And then the development schedule, the project is estimated to be completed in 2026. And then from the traffic impact analysis submitted, these are just a few pages that are being presented. One of three, this specific page is looking at the site study area, several intersections and looking at the traffic counts for the traffic and how it might impact the area within the vicinity of this development. And then followed by the existing AM peak hour traffic counts for these intersections. Two intersections are on FM 1110 and Gateway East Boulevard. The other one is on the other side on FM 1110 and Gateway West Boulevard. The third one, I believe, is kind of hard to tell. I believe it's on Fortuna Street, to the north of this development. And then the next slide shows the 2026 projected AM peak hour traffic counts. And so the summary of the request, once again, is for approval of a rezoning from unclassified to ICMUD with a variance request to allow for warehousing and distribution facilities. And at this time, staff can answer any questions. We also have Mr. Adam Thomas and Mr. Grajeda, Jorge Grajeda, present to answer any questions as well.
I don't have any questions.
I don't have.
Like to make,
Go ahead.
like to make a motion to approve with staff recommendations?
I second.
I have a motion made by Enrique Cisneros and second by Andrew Arroyos to approve. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Item number 9, consider and take action on the approval of preliminary plat, resubmission, and final plat for Eastwind Hills Unit 2 subdivision, Robert E. Nick Survey Number 301, El Paso County, Texas, located at Gateway West Boulevard. Mr. Botello?
Mr. Rota, just before we start, I just want to tell everybody that I will be abstaining from this item. I was here 2 weeks ago, and I abstained from it just for the same reason that I did 2 weeks ago. I don't work for this company, but they are sister companies of people that I do work with or whatnot. I have no interest in anything financially or whatnot. And, but since I did abstain this last time, I'm going to abstain on this time.
Understood, thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Item number 9 on the agenda is the Eastwind Hills Unit 2 preliminary plat resubmission and final plat. So some general information on this request. The property owner is Clinton Land Holding Co. 2 LLC. The representative is Mr. Jorge Azcarate of the CEA Group, who is also present in this meeting. The lot size is 343.98 acres. This property is in Socorro's 2-mile ETJ. The zoning does not apply for this development. Current land use is vacant. And the summary of the request is for approval of a preliminary plat resubmission and a final plat for Eastwind Hills Unit 2. And staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat resubmission and final plat for Eastwind Hills Unit 2 subdivision with the condition that the engineering review comments are met before recording of the final plat. The preliminary plat for this development was approved by City Council back at their September 28th, 2023 meeting. And so you'll see in the location map, the purple line signifies the city of Socorro's boundaries. So this property is just outside our city limits within our 2-mile ETJ. And in the zoning map, you'll see that the property is outlined in a thick yellow line. The color signifies that there's no zoning for the property as it is outside our city boundary limits. And then followed by some pictures taken from Gateway West Boulevard and Roaring Springs Drive. The aerial image once again. And then this is part of the requirements. The traffic impact analysis was submitted for this development. And then this is the original preliminary plat that was approved, and so this preliminary plat shows a larger portion or a larger development. Right, this is page 2 of 3 for the original plat that was submitted, followed by page 3, and then this is the resubmission showing the 343 acres for Eastwind Hills Unit 2. This is page 2 of 3, page 3 of 3, followed by the final plat showing the 343 acre development. Sheet 2 of 4, 3 of 4, and 4 of 4. And so once again, the summary of the request is for approval of a preliminary plat resubmission and final plat for Eastwind Hills Unit 2 subdivision. And at this time, staff can answer any questions. We also have Mr. Escarate present via Zoom to answer any questions as well.
Any questions? I'd like to make a motion to approve, please.
I second.
I have a motion made by Enrique Cisneros and second by Yolanda Rodriguez to approve. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 10, Planning and Zoning Commissioners Report.
I don't have
Nope, no, ma'am.
Thank you. Item number 11, Planning and Zoning Department Report.
I only have a reminder for tomorrow's joint workshop with the Planning and Zoning Commission, HLC, and City Council here at Council Chambers at 5:30. We're going to have a work session on the Unified Development Code with Able City, the consultants who were selected to help us through this process, and we look forward to having everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 12, consider and take action on the adjournment of this meeting. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion made by Arroyos and second by Yolanda Rodriguez to adjourn. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 6:14 PM. Thank you.